Federal Reserve officials, and Wall Street will no doubt be listening for any clues to, can you guess? Yeah, tapering plans. Let's explore this with Michael Hansen, senior U.S. economist at Bank of America in New York. Michael, thanks for joining us this morning. One of the topics for the Fed officials today will be orderly resolution in Washington. How much has the disorder there affected the U.S. economy, and where does that leave the Fed's desire to start tapering, do you think?
Yeah, thanks. Good morning, Bob. So I do think that we're probably looking at a modest drag on the fourth quarter and some uncertainty because of the lack of data flow going ahead. So we took our forecast for Q4 growth down from 2.5% to 2%. I know other people on the street have had some similar cuts. And I think the Fed is basically going to be looking for particularly the post-shutdown data to get a feel for where the economy stands. So the data we're going to get out next week has been delayed. Most of it is pre-shutdown. And, of course, Fed officials want to keep an eye on those upcoming deadlines on the CR in January and the debt limit again in February to see what kind of potential noises are around those, or we're going to have a repeat of what we had the last couple of weeks or not.
Dallas Fed President Richard Fisher has already said that fiscal discord has undermined the argument for tapering the bond purchases. Would you concur?
I would agree, and he's not alone. You've heard a number of Fed officials across the hawk dove spectrum have made similar comments. Our expectation is that the earliest we might see the Fed taper would be probably January. They meet at the very end of the month, so they'll have a feel for whether or not we've fallen into another round of fiscal disarray where we had another shutdown, because that deadline is the 15th of January. But if the data come in showing some signs of strength in the economy, sort of motor through the shutdown, I think there's some chance we taper in January. I think there's a good chance it could be later, though.
Okay, hello, welcome in from Sunnyvale, California. I'm Mark Vierra. I'm going to just run down some very basic analysis here on the charts, just to kind of go along with my trading log. And for YouTube users, I'll have links to this stuff all in there. So, we have a pretty strong week. Nice bullish candle on the monthly. Same thing on the weekly. Very nice bullish candle with no up thrust or tail reaching out. It's a nice bullish week. I don't see any signs of shift in the momentum here, not based on these charts. And to give you an idea, let's do this chart here. All-time highs don't really leave much for patterns when you start making these parabolic legs. Previously, this kind of a two-touch weak bear flag popped us down below the symmetrical triangle. Nice star doji there, accompanied with somewhat of some climax volume. Pushed into a bull pennant. Nice little breakaway gap here, but not really. Without some consolidation here, we get to see any kind of patterns where we can judge market psychology. But I think one of the funnest charts I think this week is I'm looking at some near-term moving averages. I've got a 5, a 9, and a 20-day. Now you can see going back here when the 5 crossed above the 20-day moving average, we had a 93 handle result. Okay. Also, 5-day crossed above the 20-day average here, had a 75 handle result. So averaging 93 and 75, I get an 84 handle as just kind of a fun thing to watch for now, since we've just crossed above the 20-day moving average this week. Will we get another 84 handle for a 1777 target? So far, and I'm going to move into volume now, I don't see anything in volume to tell me otherwise. Maybe this week we'll, in a bull market, I don't mind so much on this declining volume here. On the move up, it's nothing declining that much to show me that there is that much bearish activity. You see, the move up on declining volume is just a divergence, telling us that the momentum is slowing, but right now the momentum is siding with the bulls here. And on the hourly chart, I'm looking at all these high volume nodes right here that are pretty close to being the point of control. So it's, price is not showing me that there's going to be any sharp decline, not based on volume anyway. And to end the week, we did have an increase in volume, right? But nothing huge that I'm looking for signs of climaxing. Now, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to see climax volume, but it would be a strong indication. And here our playground area, as I mentioned last week, I think we'll see an expansion, which we have been. I think we're going to see even more of an expansion of this playground, and I like that it's, I like the symmetry to the playgrounds, especially you can see it here on the hourly, where you have an open at the low of the playground, close at the high, open at the low, closed on the high, low, high, low, high. And they're not like this gap down here. They're starting to build a foundation and not so much scattered apart. And I think that's a good sign. I don't see any indication of a momentum slowdown here. Again, I'm going to be looking for volume as really the only clue to go by. Also, let's see. Now the euro trade's moving against me with the dollar weakness. Primarily, just as we were just listening to on Bloomberg, that risk is on. You have the Fed literally hurting investors to riskier asset classes, and this is what's happening. And they make no bones about it. They admit it to your face, and probably get off stage and go and snicker, about it as well. Suckers! So, just on a closing note, I mentioned in my log too about this, we're seeing a positive correlation between the S&P 500 and U.S. Treasuries. So, there is some cautious, ness in the background. Investors are weary of skyrocketing debt, increasing larger governments sucking more money. So I'll have to see how investors look to hedge their bets with treasuries. And that's all I got. Just a quick run through. I'm looking for more of the same, and I'd like you to take a look at HotStockMarket.com. This is me, Vario. It's where I hang out. If you want to contact me, you can get to my trading log right off the front page there. And I hope to see y'all on the boards.